Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Walaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So this is lovely. Salam alaikum, and very soon Ramadan Mubarak to everybody,
To
all the
everyone.
Muslim mamas on this Facebook Live, and everybody who's going to be listening to this session, inshallah. My name is Nabila Fowles-Gutierrez. I'm a midwife, so a healthcare professional. I also run a divorce coaching business, and I'm very much a nutrition enthusiast for all of you that know me very, very well. And I am so pleased to be joined this evening for this amazing Facebook Live on getting Ramadan ready and eating and taking care of ourselves in Ramadan. It's a fantastic time to stock take on our health, on our mental health, on our spiritual health, on our whole well-being, and really sort of take that time for ourselves. And I'm joined this evening by Abida Yaqoob. Salam alaikum, Abida.
Walaikum assalam, Nabila. Nice to meet you.
So
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. We're so pleased to have you this evening. So Abid, I'm going to introduce you because you are, I'm so excited about this session. I'm going to learn so much. I'm going to be taking notes as well. So everybody grab your pen and paper and just really, we want to learn so much from you this evening. So Abida, you are a community nutrition support dietitian at Buckingham Healthcare NHS Trust.
Yes.
And you've been a dietitian for 18 years now.
Yeah,
and
showing my age now.
18 years, darling, is nothing. It's just you've 18 years experience of helping people handle chronic medical problems through effective nutrition, and you've educated patients and families, and you're also a keen interest in public health education, and you regularly volunteer in services in local schools and lots of community work. So Abida, tell us about the work that you do, and obviously we're talking about Ramadan now because some people are going to start fasting tomorrow, on Wednesday. You won't open that whole can of worms because we know we'll all get into that. We're all fasting this week at some point, that's for sure. So Abida, I'm, as I said, so excited to have you this evening, but talk to us about, first of all, the work that you do and your background, and then we're going to sort of jump in with some of, we've already received loads of questions.
Sure, I did have a look through those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward to getting into those questions. And as we were talking about off camera, Nabila, I have worked in the NHS for 12 years, and after I had my children, I took some time off and worked privately, seeing mainly women for hormonal issues, and working doing some community work in diabetes, working for Diabetes UK as a volunteer, lots of bits and pieces going on, working in schools with children. But today I have made loads of notes so we can talk about Ramadan and how we can navigate Ramadan as mothers, as women, and get the best out of it.
Inshallah. So before I forget as well, obviously Muslim mamas working hand in hand with public health and also with NHS, the NHS Better Health campaign. And we're all participating in this to really bring the best quality, the highest quality education to our sisters and our community, because mothers are right at the heart of the community. And
that's right.
When we receive the highest quality information, we can make the best informed choices that permeate through our families and to our communities, and we can really do the very, very best for our families and our homes. Yes. So Abida, let's just jump in straight in with Ramadan. Now look, a lot of us in Ramadan, we start off with good intentions, don't we? We want to do a really good job of taking care of our health, etc. But we make lots of intentions, we go out shopping, we go a little bit mad on the shopping in Ramadan, we always overshop, and then out comes the fried food, the sticky sweets, the biscuits, the gorging, the overeating. What do you think about that as a dietitian?
Nabila, I think everyone should look at Ramadan as a time when obviously there's a lot of focus on food, although there isn't meant to be. There is a lot of focus on food. We focus on what we're going to eat, the shopping takes a lot of time, menu planning, thinking about all the things. And that is definitely a positive thing, because you're thinking about your meals. And this is an opportunity for you to be more considerate, to pay attention to what you're going to make. And although a lot of people see Ramadan as an opportunity to lose weight, a lot of the evidence suggests that those who do lose weight in Ramadan very quickly gain that weight afterwards. And we know why that is, because short-term weight loss, and then after Ramadan, you'll go back to your old eating habits. And although Ramadan might not necessarily be the best time for you to completely change everything, because there's always an adjustment period, and Ramadan is also spiritual. You're praying, you're doing loads of different things. There's a lot of pressure on women and mothers as well with the food preparation and getting everything ready. Usually we bear the burden of that. So you don't want to be in a position where you're starving yourself. So what you want is the food choices that you're making should be nourishing. You need to be nourishing your body. That's the priority, to be nourishing your body. And you could nourish your body and still potentially make very good food choices and potentially lose weight. All of those things go hand in hand. And I know, and I like what you said about you start off with good intentions and then it all goes down the pan. Unfortunately, we've done this live just the day before Ramadan. Usually it's a good idea 2 weeks, a month before, to really, have a look at the food that you're eating and how you can make small changes. And even in Ramadan, the few things that you can change, that you can take beyond Ramadan, that is what we're looking for the viewers to do, to make those small changes. Small changes. And because, you don't jump in and say, all of a sudden I'm going to be drinking 2 liters and I'm going to have no sugar. I'm going to eat loads of vegetables. Don't find 10 things to do. Find 3 things. Find 3 things that you want to change in Ramadan. Maybe you don't want to have any fizzy drink in Ramadan. Maybe you want to increase your fluid intake. You want to eat more fruit. You want to eat more vegetables. Choose 3 things that you can sustain and take outside of Ramadan, and then build on that.
Abida, if we just did those 3 things, fizzy drink giving up, eating fruit and veg, or no fizzy drinks, more water and more fruit. I mean, just simple thing like that.
Very simple thing.
Massive impact.
Absolutely.
Health,
and I think that's the mistake we make, Nabila, in that we feel like everything has to be perfect, and that's why failure happens. Everything doesn't need to be perfect. Just choose a couple of things that you feel as a mom, you know what, I can do this. I can do this for 30 days. I can do this for 60 days, and see what impact that has on your body.
Exactly. Oh wow, I love the way you were describing that, because you are completely on the same page as me. I have to say, I admit, about 18 months ago, my health was not great. I suffered from a long-term health autoimmune condition, and I just made a couple of changes to my diet, and I stuck to them, in terms of just reducing refined sugary foods. Just that. What an impact it's had. I mean, I've learned to cook delicious food in a different way, but just small changes like that, once you incorporate them into your life as part of your everyday thing, it can be so profound, can't it?
It actually can. It really makes a huge difference. And I think the reason why people don't maintain things is, they don't always see results straight away.
That's it.
And these things take time. It takes maybe years to gain 10 kilos. And if you want to lose those 10 kilos, you want it done in a couple of weeks. Things never happen like that.
No.
It's all about patience and perseverance. And baby steps.
I love that. I love that. So, Abida, so tell us, we're all mums here. This is Muslim Mamas. The night before Ramadan, or maybe the night before, but whichever, potato, whichever way it is. We've got to laugh at ourselves, haven't we, really?
We do.
All right, so what can we do now? What can we do now in terms of making this Ramadan, because we're in lockdown? Well, it's coming out of lockdown, but it's still, we're in the pandemic. what can we do? What would you recommend that we do to make this Ramadan really count? Give us some tips. I know
Okay.
you've written notes and you've prepared for this.
The
So
thing I
you
really wanted to focus on today, Nabila, was how about we think about a meal on a plate that is balanced. It has some complex carbohydrates, it has a protein, it has some vegetables.
Lovely.
So when you prepare your iftar or suhoor meal, you're thinking, does it have some good fat? Does it have some carbohydrate? And does it have a good source of protein? Does it have those three things?
Tell me if you were to choose if you were cooking for me this evening, right? Let's spice this up. And let's say we were just having a curry, because I'm a bit of a curry addict. I love my curries. So how would you cook that in the optimal way to make it as nutritious as possible for a Ramadan dish? How would you tweak it?
Nabila, the issue with curries, and certainly in our communities with curries, is the high fat content.
Right.
And although fat is associated with flavor, it doesn't always, removing fat doesn't always take away all the flavor. There's so many herbs and spices that you can add to a curry to increase the flavor. And although fat does give it body, you can add tinned tomatoes also give curry a bit of body. Even if you cut your fat, the amount of fat you were going to add in half, and even that is a huge, because fat is, for each gram of fat, it's 10 calories.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you think about it like that, by cutting the amount of fat you were going to use in half, you would reduce your calorie intake by a lot. The important thing is to focus on your protein sources. Your nuts, seeds, pulses, chicken, fish, eggs, cheese.
Yes.
You need to have one of those protein sources in every meal, because protein is very satiating, and it will take you, it will keep you satiated for longer. And carbohydrates are also very important. A lot of people, try to bash carbohydrates that, you shouldn't be eating because they turn into glucose. But
Give us the type of carbohydrate that you would choose.
Even potatoes, rice. But see it like this: how about a fist? Just use your fist. How about a fistful of potatoes, a fistful of rice on your plate, and then
one of each, or one of two?
Oh no,
just one.
Yeah, one or the other.
Not two.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but also lots of vegetables, and well-cooked vegetables, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, all of the green vegetables. They're all, packed full of vitamins and minerals. But also, fruit is also very important, Nabila, because fruit has a strong hydrating element. These are wet foods that give us a lot of hydration. Sometimes when we're chugging a lot of water, that water can go straight through you without hydrating you properly. Fruit contains a balance of minerals which help you absorb that water and retain it for longer. So, if you're getting up for suhoor, a glass of low-fat milk with some dates, a smoothie made with low-fat milk, some fruit, maybe some dates blended in, for people who don't have time. Because a lot of us, we've all done it. You wake up and there's only 10 minutes to go.
Yes.
So, just something quick. Even if you wake up and you just drink a glass of milk and take 3 dates, that is about 12 grams of protein and a good amount of sugar as well. And hydrating.
Yes. Fantastic. That's brilliant. So you're talking about really putting the highest quality of fresh ingredients in that food.
Yeah.
To make it the highest quality in terms of the nutritional value.
Yeah, just look at your food on the plate. Split it into 3 portions. One portion is the protein, one portion is the rice or potatoes or pasta or bread, and the other portion is vegetables. And
in terms of your rice, would you go for brown rice if you could, or mixing it with something like a quinoa, something like that?
Definitely. Whole grains are the way to go, really. Whole grains are the way to go. And definitely they're better for digestion. And it's definitely the better option, although in our community, we prefer the plain white rice. Even that is a good option if you're having the vegetables along with it, because vegetables are high in fiber as well.
Yes. So if you two, I've actually personally, I'm a little bit of a rice addict. I'll just be honest with you. I'm a complete junkie when it comes to rice. I can eat rice 5 times a day, and that ends up, I'm one of these people that collects fat around my belly. So
Yeah.
I've left that as a treat. So I have it maybe once or twice a week as a treat. And then I replace that with lots of green vegetables instead. So this evening, my children had pasta bolognese, and I had big plate of broccoli bolognese instead. So what would you think about that sort of thing as well? So to replace more vegetables, greens.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something to consider, Nabila. But like I said to you at the beginning, sometimes these big changes are not easy to make at the beginning.
No.
You know, when you're starting your journey, it's enough to just consider what's on your plate.
Yeah.
In terms of the portion sizes. You know, sometimes when you're just completely changing the menu, you're asking someone to completely change the menu.
Yes.
Can that person sustain that for a long time?
And that's the problem, isn't it? That's the problem. So, so you know, the other thing is, you know, Abida, the size of the plates. Have they got people's plates? They've got bigger, and they just get piled up. What do you think about that in terms of the size? Looking at a plate, maybe just in the size of the actual plates themselves.
That's a very good point, and I think what can really help with portion control is when the fast opens, you have a few things laid out already. I mean, I do this myself. I'll have the fruit will be prepared. There'll be maybe some fruit juice, some a smoothie. Maybe my kids prefer that. There'll be a little bit for everyone to take before the main meal arrives, and usually that buffer, you know, that bit of food before really tempers how much you will eat when the main meal arrives, because you know, you've satiated yourself, you've maybe prayed, gone to the bathroom, whatever you need to do, and then you come and sit down for your main meal. Usually that's always a good idea to maybe have a little bit, go and pray your Maghrib Salah, and then come down to the main meal. I think when you're trying to eat as much as you can before you get to Maghrib, that's I think not the best thing. But you know, trying to split it into 2 meals, that really helps.
So then so it's just managing those things and having that preparation time where the things are laid out. What about fried food? There's a lot of fried food in our communities in Ramadan.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with fried food is the digestive issues, particularly you haven't been eating all day, and fried foods can be quite heavy. So and a lot of people make, you know, they do make pacts with themselves. Oh, I'm not going to have anything fried in Ramadan. And there was one of them was a question that a lady was saying that I can't help eating the fried things. And what I would say is, if you are going to have something fried, have it, but try and reduce your portion size. Just have a small amount, and don't have it every day. Try not to have it every day. Say, okay, on a Friday night for iftar, we'll fry something.
Yes, the samosas will come out on one night of the week rather than 10 samosas in one go.
That's it. And if you've got someone round, then maybe you'll fry on that day.
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to go through some questions because we had lots of questions in advance. So inshallah, we'll try and talk through this because we've, you know, I literally could talk to you all night. And yeah, I'd love. I wish we weren't in the situation. I'd have you over. We could be doing this.
I'd love that.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
I would love that.
Brilliant. So okay, we've got a question here about breastfeeding. So I'm breastfeeding my nearly 2-year-old. I want to attempt fasting this year, but I'm not ready to wean. How can I fast and still retain my milk?
Okay. I always say that if the child is under 3 months and there's already a supply issue, then fasting isn't recommended. But when the child is 2, getting majority of its nutrients from food, and you know, you're able to maybe up that as well. And I know it's not easy. It's not easy because with breastfeeding, the majority of it is, it's a comfort thing, but there's a lot of milk that's being produced as well. So what I would say is, try to feed your child a little bit more, just that little bit extra before they might potentially have a feed. And
Yeah.
you yourself need to pay attention to the foods that you're having at suhoor and for iftar. You know,
Yes.
plenty
Yes.
of fruits, plenty of milk,
Yes.
and the protein is important as well.
Fantastic. No,
Yeah.
that's brilliant. Excellent. Excellent advice. Now, next one is my teen daughter is very skinny and underweight. This Ramadan, her first Ramadan, where it's hard for her to eat, for her to fast. What foods are best for her so she does not lose any more weight? Ooh.
Okay, it's really tough because children, the way their metabolisms work, I've got a 13-year-old son who every time he fasts just turns into a waif, even though he eats so much. Children's metabolisms work like that in terms they'll lose weight very quickly. But what I will say is that, again, pay attention to the suhoor meal. The suhoor meal is very, very important because for anyone who doesn't take the suhoor meal, the fast becomes extended it becomes extended to 20 hours. So it's very important that you wake your child up for suhoor, you give them something substantial. Even it's difficult to feed them at that time, so you could just make a smoothie beforehand, put it in the fridge, and the smoothie is full of protein, any fruit you might put in it, vitamins and minerals. The dates, again, very important because dates contain loads of nutrients, minerals as well, that are very important for hydration, for satiety, all of those.
Aren't they? They're like an electrolyte.
That's right, absolutely. So, and also, pay heed to what your child is eating at iftar. If you're going to put a portion of meat on their plate, meat, usually it should be these 4 fingers. That's how much meat should be on your plate. And that's usually about 30 grams of protein. So, you should try and make sure that they finish that before you give them any sweets or any juices or anything like that. Try to get them to eat the main meal, eat the meal before, and then they can have anything else. Because usually kids, you know what kids are like. They'll get a chocolate bar out the drawer and shovel that down and not be interested in the main meal. So, focusing on the proper food, on real food. And that's the key, really.
Fantastic. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so I've got another question here. My periods stop when I fast. What can I eat to prevent this?
Okay, you have to ask yourself, what the period is very nutritionally expensive. So when a woman gets a period, it's very expensive for the body because you're losing iron. It's all the energies required to build that period up, to release that blood. It's a process. And if you're fasting and your period stops, that's an indication that maybe your health isn't optimal. And definitely something to discuss with your GP. If you're fasting and your period stops, I would say that it would be important to discuss that with your GP, definitely. But if you're still gonna continue to fast, then again, same as what I was saying for the underweight child, pay heed to the 2 meals that you're having and add in a third before bed. Try to get as much bang for your buck. Every contact with food should be optimal. Take in as much as you can. So open your fast at 8 o'clock, have something again at 11 after your tarawih before you go to bed. And again, you're up at suhoor, have something substantial then.
Amazing.
So, by splitting it up into 3, you can get in a lot more. But definitely see your GP.
I think so too. I would also say that too as a healthcare professional. But I had one little hack. I don't know what you think about this, but I was actually breastfeeding my little one. She's now 6, but when I was breastfeeding her, finding myself really having that sort of time after having her, I was craving sugary foods, and I wasn't really losing the pregnancy weight. Then when I sort of stopped and wondered, what is my body actually telling me? It's still sending me the hunger signals. And so I stopped and I just intuitively thought, what if I give my body a hit of nutrition right at the beginning of the day? Let's see if that works for the cravings. So what I did is I packed all the 5 a day that you would like a mixture of fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds into one smoothie, and I would have that in the morning. And then I thought, well, if I don't have time to eat anything else today until dinner time or a couple of snacks, I've had so much nutritional value in that one hit.
Absolutely.
All the cravings stopped. It's like my body was saying to me, you don't have enough nutrition to get you through. So I just think sometimes listening to what your body says, if your periods are dropping, it's maybe just you just need that extra nutrition. So you're like you're saying, just giving those extra extra bits to
Absolutely.
the body, just to nourish it through the fast.
Absolutely. Completely, Nabila, I completely agree with you.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad I got nutritionist approved there.
Okay.
All right. So how do I stay hydrated in these long fasts? I think we've kind of covered that.
We kind of covered that.
Yeah, we've covered
Yeah.
that. I live with elderly in-laws who don't fast, but they want to retain a traditional friend iftar. It's hard to look after my health during Ramadan, and I always end up putting on more weight as I can't resist the fried stuff. What can I do to stifle the appetite?
Well, Nabila, why don't you take this one in terms of you're a motivator?
Do you know what? I just think the body is giving you a signal. I just think the body's it's either giving you a signal. I don't know. This is observational. Please, it's observational and anecdotal. But correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the scientist that I would trust on this. Okay, but two things. People eat because it's a comfort. So they sometimes eat because there's emotional motivation behind the eating. And the other reason they might be craving stuff is because they're depleted in something that the body's still saying, you still didn't eat that nutrition. You still are deficient in that micronutrient. Go back and get some more food. And you're not giving it the right food because you've eaten another Mars bar and you're still deficient in whatever it's asking you to do. So I think there's a bit of that going on. So I think if you're looking after, I'm a full-time carer as well. My mum is elderly and I care for her. I think you need to be taking care of yourself. There needs to be some self-care in that because you're probably quite stressed out and comfort eating.
Yeah.
So
And also, Nabila, it's important to remember that we are only human, and eating is it's such a pleasure. It's one of life's biggest pleasures.
It
and
is.
It's and I always feel that if we didn't set boundaries for ourselves, everyone could quite easily walk into obesity without even realizing. So it is important to set some boundaries for yourself. And I completely sympathize. I mean, if my elderly relatives were with me and they wanted some fried bits and I put them there, would I be able to resist? I probably would have one or two. And it's sometimes it's not a case of all or nothing, because you have to make it. But I would say try and eat a good main meal and see if that satisfies you enough to keep you away from those other things. A food that you enjoy. Good food doesn't have to be nutritious food doesn't have to be unpalatable.
No, absolutely not.
You could still enjoy a meal that's low in fat, low in calories, that's nourishing. So
good. I don't know about anybody else, but I love making good salads.
Oh yeah, and absolutely,
really tasty, zingy, tangy ones. And one of the things my mum loves is making a big sort of homemade sort of coleslaw with a little
nice.
I make a dressing with some olive oil and some lemon juice and some cider vinegar, the apple vinegar, some salt, peppers. Really make it tasty.
Definitely, that's a very good point. I didn't mention salads. Salads are a beautiful salad in the middle of the table can be really exciting. So I think experiment, try different things.
Exactly. And I mean, you could eat that whole bowl of salad and what's going to happen? Nothing, or you ate too many vegetables today. No one is going to ever tell you off for eating too many green vegetables. So finding things that are just as pleasurable but maybe nutritionally many calorie less dense, but fantastic for the health and
Yeah.
excellent. All right, so somebody's saying here, I find it so hard to eat at sahur. What is the bare minimum that I can eat? What are the better foods to eat? I think we dealt with that already.
We did cover that. Yeah, make a smoothie the night before. Have some milk, have some dates. Very easy.
I think smoothies is just like superfood, brilliant.
Yeah.
But not Mars bar smoothies. Nothing like that.
Ooh.
It's gonna have. Give me ingredients for your smoothie. Come on,
I
Abida.
promise I've never had one. Okay, for a smoothie, I would always use semi-skim milk, if not skim milk, because skim milk and whole milk, same amount of protein. You can add. I would always add 3 dates, some strawberries. You could even add some spinach in there. Blend it all up. I like to add a small an inch of ginger in there as well.
Lovely.
And yeah, blend it all up and easy peasy. I personally don't have nuts because of allergies, but for those who don't have allergies, nuts are definitely a good option. Yeah, and even a knob of peanut butter.
Yeah, fantastic. Excellent. So yeah, just to kind of extend that glycemic and fantastic, go to all those nutrients. Excellent. So I get heartburn every Ramadan. I don't eat a lot of fried food, but I do eat lots of fruit. Could this be why?
Okay, yeah, I've actually had some experience with this, not personally, but with other clients. But with heartburn, usually the reason is that, particularly in Ramadan, your body's slowing down, you slow down because you're not eating as much. Your digestion also slows down, and the reflux happens usually because a lot of the food is still hanging around. What I would suggest is, like you mentioned, a nice acidic salad with your meal. Carrots, raw carrots are a really good fibrous enough to they're good to push the food down, and they've been proven to improve your digestion by they kind of work like a brush inside the stomach, like getting all the food and pushing it down. So definitely a couple of raw carrots, small ones. You can grate them into a salad or just eat the carrot as it is. And
I'm craving that salad right now. I want a big plate of salad.
Yeah, I mean, you can do so much with salads. It's they can be as exciting or as boring as you want.
Yeah, exciting. They have to be exciting in my household. They're delicious, zingy and tangy and yum. Excellent. Okay, brilliant. So I'm in early pregnancy. Really important one now. In early pregnancy, I feel I can fast this Ramadan, but I don't have an appetite or feel like eating much. Is it recommended? Okay. I'll jump in after you. You first, and then me second.
What I would say is fasting during pregnancy. A lot of women do fast during pregnancy. It's definitely.
Oh, we're cutting out a little bit, Abida.
Definitely, if you feel that if you're you should never put that pressure on yourself. However, this lady has said that she feels she's able to fast. She has no appetite. But if you are fasting, then you have to have your sahur meal, and you have to have something decent in the evenings, a substantial meal. Plenty of protein, milk, eggs, fish, meat, all of those things, fibrous foods, whole grains. You need to be eating well. And it's not a case that if you are fasting all day, it can't be a case that I don't feel like eating anything. You have to nourish your baby as well. It's important.
Absolutely. So as a midwife, I'm going to jump in and say, number one, it's not obligatory for pregnant women to fast. So I would say, I also have a chronic health condition, so it's not obligatory for me to fast. Make the intention to fast. However, if you're unable to do it, then you can break the fast. So see how it goes, and don't put that pressure, psychological pressure on yourself.
Absolutely.
If it gets too much, you can break your fast. You don't have to fast. So if you've got any questions about that, speak to your midwife, speak to your GP to see if it's appropriate for you to fast. But if you're really, really determined to do it, make an intention to do it, and then absolutely break it if it's too much. Just take it day at a time.
Definitely. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, excellent. All right, so we've been told, I'm getting told in the background, we have to sort of start wrapping up, but
Okay.
I don't want to miss up these. We're going to shoot through these, okay?
Okay.
So people that put on weight in Ramadan.
Okay, that was an interesting question. I like that question. Where a lady was saying that she doesn't feel she doesn't eat very much, but still gains weight. A lot of women who reach, who get to their mid-30s, early 40s, do go through this stage where things become very sluggish, and that's more connected to your hormones, because potentially you're perimenopause, you're coming up to menopause, things do change, and you will find a lot of women will find that they gain weight very easily, and that is connected to your metabolism, which potentially has slowed down. And it happens to a lot of women. I've seen it in a lot of women. And there are strategies to improve your metabolism, but not anything that you can do during Ramadan, unfortunately, because you're going, because in order, it's a longer term thing. So it's not something that I can just talk about here.
Okay. But do you have a website, Abida, that will you post a link to that? Is there any?
I'll send it to Nafisa.
Fantastic, inshallah. I know you do also, you work in the NHS, and you have a private practice as well, so just to get any extra advice, people can maybe contact the admins.
And they're welcome to shoot. My Facebook page is Abida Yaqoob. Anyone's welcome to shoot me any questions. I'm happy to answer.
Perfect. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Excellent. Right, let me shoot through a couple more. Any particular foods we should eat during fasting to speed up? Any speeding up metabolism foods? Any foods
unfortunately, this is bad news for everyone, but unfortunately, when you're fasting, your metabolism does slow down. It does the opposite. In order for you to improve your metabolism, food frequency needs to increase during the day. You need to, it's like if you want your car to go faster, you need to, drive it faster, put more fuel in, all of that. So, and it's a process. It's a long-term process. And there are no, foods that increase your metabolism. That's really just a myth.
Yes, exactly. Now, I'm going to just combine a few of these. Any supplements you recommend to take during Ramadan? Anyone should be taking vitamins, supplements, that kind of thing?
Anyone, you can, certainly the pregnant women should be taking their prenatal vitamins and minerals.
Absolutely.
And anyone can, can take, extra iron, extra vitamins and minerals. You can get very good, broad spectrum vitamins and minerals from the local supermarket, or Holland and Barrett do some very good ones as well. So, it could be a good idea just to
standard multivitamin. Standard multivitamin, but not for pregnant women. They need to have pregnancy anti-prenatal vitamins, because they have to be tailored. There's some vitamins we don't have in pregnancy and things like that, so they have to be for pregnancy, not your basic ones. Okay, binging, iftar, binging, people going crazy, devouring everything. How can I stop myself? So I think, again, just about having those high quality foods, focusing on,
because why would someone binge? It's usually because it's not always an emotional thing. Sometimes it actually is the body's physical need to nourish straight away. But also we need to have some, a level of patience as well.
Absolutely.
And some self-control. That is very important.
What Ramadan is about, isn't it? It's about the self-control.
And what we said about your meal on a plate, the meal, there are lots of snacks around, you'd always try to make, an additional starter, but try to focus on the main meal. I mean, I've got my husband into that routine now. He gets one starter and he has a main meal.
Okay, perfect. So last questions combined now. People getting headaches and migraines during Ramadan. What can we do?
It's completely common, especially in the early days. You're not having as much caffeine. You're not drinking as much. It's usually dehydration. So focus on the fluids. When you in suhoor and iftar, focus on the fluids. But the fluids shouldn't be just a long, tall glass of water which you're chugging down. Try to have wet foods, like fruit.
Wet foods. So that's the equivalent of
and soup. Yeah.
Soups are excellent in
Yeah.
Ramadan.
Soups are excellent.
Fantastic. So look, I think we just wanted again we're going to be having a link somewhere below the video for the Better Health campaign, the NHS.
Oh,
Is there
yes.
anything else you wanted to wrap up with before we love you and leave you this evening? It's been a real pleasure having you.
Nabila, I just wanted to talk about that lady who asked a question about her immune system.
Oh,
how
yes.
Just quickly, I know it's 9:45 now.
No, go for it.
Okay,
We're allowed.
she said that she always gets sick when she fasts and her immune system goes down. The most important,
yes.
The most important nutrient to maintain your immunity is protein. So focus on the protein foods, the eggs, the fish, the milk, the cheese, the meat. Focus on those. Make sure that your meal contains at least 30 to 40 grams of protein. That's the important thing.
And those types of foods also have high vitamin D as well, don't they?
That's right.
And
that's absolutely right. The milk and the cheese, yes. And you can have the lower fat options of milk and cheese, just so because your body doesn't actually need a huge amount of fat, but it does need protein. So I just wanted to mention that because I thought it was important.
Really important. Thank you so much. Any special last words that you want to share?
I did go online and look at the Better Health app. Some amazing resources online for anyone who wants to maintain their weight or maintain their new eating habits that they might employ over Ramadan beyond. So I would urge everyone to the Better Health app. It's actually I've never heard of it before. And
I'm going to download it straight away. I think there's recipes and stuff on there as well.
It's brilliant. It's actually really good. There's a BMI calculator on there which can tell you where your body's at, how much weight you need to lose, or what your measures should be, all of that. So it's a fantastic resource.
Amazing. So we keep posting any links that will be really useful for people during Ramadan. We want to just thank you so much this evening for your time, Abida. It's such a pleasure, and I wish you were in my kitchen and we were cooking together and doing that.
Inshallah, one time.
In the future we can do that. I want to say thank you for the sisters watching this video. Thank you to the Muslim Mamas, admin, Nafisa, Nargis, and everyone. And inshallah, wishing you all a wonderful Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem. May Allah accept your fasts and all your good deeds. Inshallah, forgive our sins. It's a real pleasure having you, and inshallah, thank you so much for all your advice, and have a wonderful Ramadan.
And you. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Salam.